Well, hello there. Welcome to our podcast. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
Depending on how you define fun. So basically what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the most controversial things about RV life as far as like kind of the unwritten rules of campground life, boondocking life, things where people feel very strongly on both sides
That's
of
right.
the topic.
Yeah, some of these are, man, people get heated on some of these topics, and we definitely have our opinions. So we're just going to present the issue. We're going to give our take, and we're going to ask you to give your take too, because like I said, people get a little salty and hot about some of these things.
Yeah, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please definitely leave your comments below. And we're also going to have this on a podcast. This is a podcast. We actually have this available on all the typical podcast platforms. If you'd like to listen to it that way, feel free to express your opinions there on however you do that with podcasts. I don't really know. Do you comment on podcasts?
I don't, but you should, because it's a great opportunity to kind of voice off if you can. It depends on probably how you're listening. But either way, we'll probably have this on our blog as well. So you can go to likethere'snotomorrow.net and comment on our blog posts.
Yes,
too.
we give you all sorts of ways to give us feedback.
Yeah, I think maybe taking it just a second, and some of you know our story and some of you don't, about how long we went on the road, how do we get these opinions, what makes us be able to speak to it, and more. So why don't you tell people about us a little bit?
Yeah, so we are Like There's No Tomorrow. My name's Barry. This is my wife, Darlene. Our dog, Hugo, is hovering beneath our feet right now, wanting attention from us, but we're not going to give him any. But anyway, so we've been on the road full time in our RV for 3.5 years.
Yeah, full time, no home base.
Yeah, so we're originally from Sarasota, Florida. And when we became empty nesters around 2022, we just decided to pack everything up and start exploring the country. Now, we both worked full time, with regular day jobs, working remotely. When we started, things have morphed. Long story, if you want to hear it, we have plenty of videos about that. But now both of us actually work full time on the YouTube channel, but we still work every now and then. No, she works all the time and I work a little bit. But that's not what this video is about.
Yeah.
This video is about controversial topics. So let's go into number one.
Number one.
This is a hot button. So it is when you're at a campground.
Maybe even boondocking too. It depends on where you're at. Just in general.
Should you, at night, while you were sleeping, leave your porch lights or your awning lights on your RV?
Yeah. So, especially the newer RVs, you have the side lights. Usually that's to light your door going in and out of your RV.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your front cap lights. And boy, the new RVs have all kinds of things. People even trick out their front cap lights to be very bright and very different colored and things like that. And then you have the underbelly lights, right? So you can light up the underbelly on some RVs. We have that.
Yeah. Okay. So why would some people be against this and why would some people be for it? Well, one, for people that definitely think you should not do this, it's because if you're in a campground setting, which we have been to more campgrounds than I can possibly count in this last 3.5 years, sometimes you feel like that you could reach out and touch your neighbor because you probably can. You're so close that when, so 10, 11, 12, whenever you're going to bed and your neighbor has those lights a shining and they're shining right in your bedroom, regardless if you have those blackout shades, that it is really freaking annoying and you can't get to sleep, depending on how you sleep. And so they say that is definitely a reason that just to be kind to your neighbor, that you should not do that. And
it also, there is even having them on. If you're outside and you're camping and it's nighttime and maybe you're out in the fire. Okay, look, we all know what happened to me when I went out on our side deck porch of our Valor without turning any lights on. I tripped on something and fell and hurt myself. So that's a little different. You're just going to go back outside, turn the light on, do your thing, turn it off when you come back in. What we're talking about is people who they leave their lights on all night. Now, I will say I have accidentally done it a time or two. Didn't mean to, didn't realize it till I got up the next day and went, oh shoot, we didn't turn the light off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are people that basically think because it's a safety, security concern. So but let's separate between campgrounds and boondocking. Okay, so at a campground setting, there are people that believe that even still you should be able to leave your lights on all night because you don't want a thief to come in and steal your stuff. Or if you have to take the dog out, you got a dog, maybe they're old, they have to pee in the middle of the night, and so they, or whatever, you have to leave it for that situation. Or in your case, that maybe, if I happen to go outside at night, I don't want to trip over something, then, and then they think that, like with their neighbors, well, if my lights bother you and you're trying to get to sleep, then you just need better blackout shades.
Mm-hmm. That's your problem, not my problem. What we did on a lot of these questions is we looked at other references to comments about that on Facebook, on social, and we saw people's comments. And there is definitely a whole, this is my right. I should be able to do whatever I want with my lights. I should be able to leave them on no matter what. And again, if your shades don't block it out, that's your problem, not mine.
So what do you think? I'm sure you're probably already typing. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think about this.
Yeah. And not all lights are made the same. Some people's lights are crazy bright compared to others. And I don't know, if they have tricked them out or it's just like the newer builds have brighter lights. I will tell you, in the time that we owned our Valor, three and a half years in that rig, we never turned our front cap lights on. We just didn't. I don't see the sense in it, but that's just me. If we turned any light on, it was the side lights. If we had to go out and dump late and it was dark, I would turn that side light on, then turn it back off when you come in. If we're having campfire, we don't want any lights on because we want to enjoy the campfire, especially in dark sky areas. Now that comes to boondocking.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to remind you that October's giveaway is for one of these. This is an Oneus keyless door lock. So this is the second RV that we've had this Oneus on, just because we really love them so much. And the reason is because they're so easy to install and they're easy to use, and it makes it really convenient. You don't also have to be carrying a key around in case you forgot something. You can just run back in, enter the code real quick, let yourself in and out, no big deal. But you can get one for free. All you got to do is go to the homepage of our website, scroll down a little bit. It will be very obvious what you need to do. Just enter your name and your email and we will draw one lucky winner. That's all you need to do. Good luck. Okay, yeah, again, I think so let's break it down because we got a lot of stuff to cover. So what do we think? I think we need to break it up into RV campgrounds and boondocking. So let's just talk specifically about RV campgrounds. Again, having been to more than I can count, is it a safety issue that you should be able to leave your lights on so people don't come steal your stuff? Personally, we have never had anything stolen, but that's mainly because we put stuff away, and we're also very diligent, especially our e-bikes, which is definitely the most valuable thing that we have sitting outside or have sit outside. We're in a little different situation now. We have very high quality locks, and they were expensive, yeah, but so were the bikes. And so I'd be like, okay, well,
no cable locks. We're talking heavy duty.
They could just snip those cheap cable locks like with a pair of scissors practically. So you definitely want to get heavy duty kryptonite locks or something like that. Make the investment. You invested in the bikes. Go ahead and
put your valuables away if that's the case. Lock your bay doors if you're worried about that. I'm sorry, a light is probably not going to deter somebody who's hell-bent on getting your stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you also have to think too. I mean, RVs are not very soundproof, and so if somebody's going to have the balls, for lack of a better way of putting it, to come and like open a bay on the side, I'm going to hear it. First of all, I'm going to hear the dog who's going to start barking. But if you don't have a dog, maybe that doesn't suit you. But it just, I don't know. I can't see somebody coming and opening a bay in the middle of the night, knowing that I'm most likely sleeping directly above that thing. So we just haven't had theft problems.
Yeah.
I guess you could make an argument, and again, comment below what you think. Motion sensors. Do we really need, so if you're like, okay, I could definitely make the case that you should keep your lights off at night. However, I want to have a motion sensor pointing down at my, like the bikes that are mounted to the back of my RV. or to maybe my really expensive grill that I have sitting out there that I don't want somebody to walk off with? What do you think?
I'm still not going to bother with it. I'm sorry, guys. After 3.5 years full time on the road, this is just not an issue. And so, I mean, I think if anything, the one I've heard about lights the most are the ones they put underneath the belly to keep rodents away. One, I am not sure that that's really the best way to keep rodents from your RV, but I know a lot of people do it. That light is much less intrusive than the ones coming from
Yeah,
above.
I mean, I'll give you a pass on that. If, you know, I just can't. Would that really bother you?
It doesn't bother me. That light I don't really have his issue with. It is just the bright lights from the side. But there are definitely people. And if you're one of those people who think it is my right, I'm leaving those lights on, please tell us how you feel about that and person next to you. Do you care at all? Is it like a thing? You know, you just, but I think there's some people that really just have that I don't care attitude and I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. So we want to hear from all of you.
All right. So now we covered the RV park, boondocking.
Yeah.
Should you leave your lights on boondocking? Now, you could make an argument that, okay, when we're boondocking, we're talking about going completely off grid. We're not talking about going to Harvest Host or something like that. I mean, going out in the boonies where it's totally dark. And there are maybe sometimes there might be RVs around you, but let's just for this sake say there's not that many around you. The closest one is, you know, a couple hundred yards away. Should you leave that on then, knowing that you're out, you know, in the boonies, somebody could come up and sneak up on you, steal your stuff, whatever, or they could attack you and carry you off into the woods?
We get this question a lot. I think it's from non-boondockers most of the time. They're scared of the safety issues of being off grid. So let me just say what my general spiel is about safety and boondocking, and that will relate to this a little bit. One, the bad guys that you think might be coming to either one, get you or steal your stuff are not going to drive an hour out into the middle of nowhere in hopes that they might come across somebody that has something good enough for them to steal. Just not going to happen. You're more likely going to get your things messed with at a very busy campground. Okay, that's that point. But most of the time when we're boondocking, we are not close to anyone else. But even so, I feel no need to leave my lights on all night. There's no need. If an animal's going to come around, they're going to come around, you know? And that's really the only thing.
You can make the opposite argument. Like, I don't want people to know that my RV's there.
There
And
you
so
go.
if it's pitch black outside and I leave all my lights off, they don't even know my RV's there at all.
Yeah.
You know, now, in the case where, and the other thing too is actually this is a thing. There are places called, what do they call them?
Dark sky.
Dark sky zones.
Yeah.
Where you're not quote unquote allowed. I'm not sure who's going to come enforce it, like the park ranger or something.
Yeah.
They're not going to, because that's basically, they're trying to keep all the LED, you know, the light down so you can actually see the Mickey Way.
The Mickey Way?
The Mickey Way. I don't know where I got that. That's a movie reference.
Are listening. He meant Milky Way, just so you know.
Tell me if you know what that movie reference was. I gotta see the Mickey Way.
I have no idea what that is. Just so you know. But yeah, you want to see the stars. And, you know, Joe Blow, who just rolled in practically at dark to the boondocking spot with their lights shining and doesn't turn them off for hours, is ruining that experience. If I have a campfire out boondocking, that's the only light I want to see. So definitely. But a lot of times in boondocking, you aren't on top of one another if you're picking a good boondocking spot. So, I mean, we have been known for, okay, we're out there having our campfire and our cocktail or whatever, and it's time to go in. We might go flip the light on just so we can see what we left out and then tidy up.
You should do that.
You should do that and then turn it back off as we go into sleep. That really is just
it's
a
not
good
that you
rule.
shouldn't use your lights at all. You have lights for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, they are safety, but it doesn't mean that, you know, it's not to keep you protected while you're sleeping. I think that's
really
the
in the end, that's, I think.
Now, I'm going to throw something out at you. Imagine in another lifetime, you were a solo female.
Good one.
Out in a van or in a small RV or a small Class C or something like that. Would you feel differently?
I don't know. I've never had that situation, but I don't know that it would make me want to sleep with the light on. I think when you're solo, you definitely have to take more precautions in safety. And that is also, if you fall down your steps because you didn't turn a light on and you're by yourself, that's definitely a concern. So I can see the need to maybe turn it on a little more often, but sleeping with it all night, I don't know that that would make me feel safer. I think I would be taking other precautions to feel safer. Um, I'd probably, I don't know, I'd probably back in if I was see a female.
Yeah. She'd have a big gnarly dog.
Or some sort of spray or some sort of something.
Packing some heat.
Crowbar.
She'd have like an electric, hidden electric fence around there that you're going to get.
But lights, I don't think would be my thing because regardless, I want to be outside enjoying that spot, and having all my lights on is not going to make me enjoy that spot. So I wouldn't do that. So
okay,
there you go.
But that's not all we're going to talk about today. We got some other great topics. So again, leave your comments below, please. Hey, there's one more thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. So if you are interested in going full-time in your RV, maybe you want to be kind of a working nomad, kind of like we were when we started, or maybe you just retired and you want to go see this beautiful country, and this full-time RV thing has really got you kind of like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. We totally get it, okay? And that's why, because when we started, we had absolutely no idea what we were doing, but after 3.5 years, we've learned a whole lot. And so we put that into a course where we go through absolutely everything. We start from the very beginning as if you knew nothing, because we didn't know anything when we started, and we make sure that we cover everything. How do you get your mail on the road? How do you book campgrounds efficiently and effectively? Just all the stuff, all these questions that you have whenever you're thinking about leaving your sticks and bricks home that you've known all your life and going into full-time RV living. We cover all that. But that's not all. We also have this great Facebook group that is a private group that you can get your questions answered. We always say, look, there's no dumb questions, okay? Other groups might make you feel a little uncomfortable. We're not about that, okay? We will answer your questions, or the other people in the group will answer your questions. Also, we do a monthly live stream where we get on and we'll answer your questions live for an hour. We'll just take any questions that you have, because we want to make sure that you're comfortable when we're making such a big life transition. We want to get you on the road in a great way. So, to take advantage of this, just go to our website again at likethereisnotomorrow.net and just click on the course button. You'll see it right there, and just sign up. And even if you don't want to continue with the monthly program, that's just fine. You just want to get access to the course, you can do that too. But we think it is an absolutely fantastic resource, and we've had so many people graduate and finally get out on the road, and it's been super exciting, and we would love that to happen for you too. So if you're interested, go check out likethereisnotomorrow.net and click on the course link.
Okay. Topic number 2, and it's a doozy.
What is it?
It is about pets. And we're just going to start with the whole, there's certain situations that it's in general pets. There's barking dogs, there's off-leash animals, and not picking up after them. So I think it's a kind of combo issue. And we're just going to talk about dogs because most people have dogs. I know some of you walk your cats, but your cats are generally inside, so we're not gonna, go there. And to the lady that I saw that had that potbelly pig, we can't go that specific. So yeah, when we were in California, the lady was walking her potbelly pig from her RV. Just saying.
Okay, so let's talk about when the owner is gone, and they have, so they've went off doing their excursion, their hike or whatever. They left the dog behind, and the dog barks and barks and barks for 2 to 4 hours inside the RV.
Yeah.
We hear it all the time. Or here's another scenario that I'll paint for you. Again, having been to many, many campgrounds, you've got these dogs, and they're always the little ones, that they want to go out in their little fenced-in area that they are at the RV park that the owners created for them at the RV, and all 5 of them, because you can never have one small dog. You need to have 3 to 5 is better. And then they want to go out at 5:30 in the morning, and then they sit out in their little fenced in area, And so whenever I take my dog, who has to pee, like all dogs do first thing in the morning, and then as soon as they catch even a whiff of my dog coming around at 5:30 in the morning, they'll want to bark their heads off at my dog. So I can't walk to that side of the RV, or that side of the RV park typically.
Can you see why we boondock so much, guys?
Yeah. So there's that issue. So that's just, so let's just, because we've got some other dog topics to talk about,
Yeah.
but let's talk about the dogs and the barking. Okay, so
It's a hard one because I'm sympathetic. I mean, sometimes you don't know how your dog is going to behave in an RV until you get out there, right? And so there's weekenders and there's people who live in their RV full time, but we find that it's a big mix of, some people just have barkers. And you know, I'm sympathetic to it to a certain extent because it's a really hard thing to tackle. I have friends that have done bark collars that vibrate anytime their dog starts barking and had a lot of success with that. Some people are never going to do that. And they're just going to go, oh, now, you just stop that barking. Mm-hmm. And that's not doing anything other. So you're the one that just has to deal with it because it is what it is. But I don't know I'm not a dog trainer and I'm not a dog specialist. So I don't know, but what can go into that. But the fact that if you know your animal is fretting to that extent the entire time you're gone, that is going to make RV travel challenging. And it definitely makes us that are parked right next to you. And we had this happen every time we left. It was in a seasonal spot too. The only time we've ever done a season. And the first day when we got there to set up, the people right next to us, dogs, every time they heard us, nonstop barking. And yeah. It was really difficult. And that's, sometimes I'm like, well, we're only there a week, you know, passing through, we'll live. This was 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. And they literally did not have another spot available.
Yeah, we asked.
We definitely asked.
The best thing you can do a lot of times in these situations is have a logical adult conversation without any emotion. And a lot of times you can get, like, a lot of the things we're talking about can be solved with a logical. It's just, we're not in a society that wants to do that anymore. No one wants confrontation. No one wants to, you know, have that, you know, hey, would you mind shutting that light off or turning it in a different direction? People just aren't comfortable doing this kind of stuff anymore. They'll go to social and complain about it, but they're not wanting to have a conversation. So the best thing you can do is have the conversation. In the end, the situation with the dog next door, it ended up not being as bad of a deal after we were there a while. It was really just when we went outside, you know, and the dogs could hear us, they barked the whole time. Or when they walked their dogs, they barked the whole time. But that's not happening every second of the day. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know, somewhere along the line of my life, I picked up a kind of thing, a motto I live by, which is ask for what you want. And, you know, in that scenario, what I wanted was them to offer me another spot, because we had just pulled in and I heard all the dogs and I thought, I'm going to be here for 3 months. I don't want to be dealing with this. So I literally just called to ask for what I wanted, which was another spot. They didn't have another spot to give me. So I wasn't going to be like, oh, you know, this is an emergency, or like, you got to give me my money back or any of that. I was just gonna be like, well, I guess I just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, but I wasn't going to let it just go by and not ask for what I wanted. I asked for what I wanted. They didn't have it. So I was like, well, I guess we're stuck here.
And I think if you have a barker, you know, and you can avoid, I would feel bad for a dog that barks all the time the owner is gone. And I think if you're aware of that, you know, that's going to be something you would probably, as a good RV owner, try to alleviate for your pet, just for the sake of your own pet and for the people around you. You would want that respect back. It just doesn't happen that way because some people don't see it as, it's not an issue, or maybe they're just very unaware of how loud that animal is, you know, that kind of thing. Now, I will tell you another story in just a second, but we'll tie it into the next topic. So if you have a barker, had a barker, did you work it out? Did you do anything? Have you had an experience with that? Because these are things that happen a lot on the road. It can make or break sometimes. If you're only out for a weekend, and you're really trying to sit outside and enjoy the atmosphere, and you have a neighbor's dog that's just nonstop, it is going to kind of mess with your experience. So how would you handle it if that happened? Because I think where everyone goes wrong is the way you approach someone to talk to them about something. That's usually where you go wrong. Now, some people, they can't give a flying, you know what, and they're just going to do what they do. And that's that type of person. They can't do anything about that. But if you're going to be somewhere a while, having a conversation is the best thing you can do. Well, I will tell you the next story because it ties into the next topic. So in the same campground, mind you, that we were at for 3 months, and this is not the first time this has happened. It's happened multiple times to me, walking Hugo around to do his business.
Always on a leash.
Our dog is always on a leash. Always. And going by a particular RV who had a very large shepherd that would viciously bark at us every time we walked by. But he's tethered. You know, I kind of limit myself how much I go over there. I'll kind of look. If he's out, I'll maybe turn around, go the other way, just because I don't want to listen to this dog viciously bark. It's, you know. So most of the time the owner's out there, so it's not an issue. Went by one day, made it around the corner, got as far away from their RV as I could, walking down the street, checked on the laundry, and I think I was walking back. The lady wasn't outside. The dog was tethered to the picnic table. And I was like, oh, okay, and just kind of skirted by. And then up comes that shepherd charging us off leash. He had pulled out of his collar to come after Hugo. Vicious. And I still have PTSD from this. Viciously attacks Hugo. And Hugo's big. He's not that big. That shepherd had a lot of size on him. And they were tearing into each other. You know, and I had the leash. I mean, after I tried to pull them apart. Here's another thing. You're never going to pull two large fighting dogs apart. You're going to get hurt. No. So after a while, I had to drop it. And people were coming out. I was screaming. I mean, it was chaos. Long story short, and again, is a gentleman who was on the corner, kind of where I was. I had talked to him before, and he had told me something about being a dog trainer at one point in his life or something. He came, and he's an older guy, and knew exactly how to put his arm around that shepherd and put its head down and put his body weight on it to allow us to get away. So I was able to get Hugo, drag him, got on the other side of a building so the shepherd couldn't see us. Of course, by then the owner had come out. She was devastated. She couldn't believe it. I mean, and they were able to get it collared and put it back in. I don't know, thank God our dog is chubby, because all that fur and all that chub kept him from having puncture wounds all over him. And we walked away from that without blood, which I still can't believe. But here's the thing, kids. 2 things. That's a freak accident. The dog pulled it out of his collar, but the lady wasn't out there with the dog.
And truth is, had she even been out there, would she have been able to stop the dog anyway?
Yeah, I don't know.
She came, I can imagine in a matter of seconds, she probably came charging out of the RV. Can you even control your dog in that situation? She probably couldn't. I mean, thank God that man tackled that German Shepherd and was able to do that. I was way at the other end of the RV park. I kind of heard a commotion, but I didn't assume anything was happening. Again, this woman may have had complete control of that dog. Maybe she had a one command that she could give, and the dog would just go docile.
And I did talk to her later after I calmed down. And she was mortified. She felt so bad, and she wanted to know what she could do. And so it was one of those things. He's never done this before. And you get that a lot. So it goes down to the same thing with off-leash dogs. We've been attacked, I think, three times.
Yeah, we've had off-leash dogs that were either just purposely left off-leash or by accident in that situation that have attacked him. He's always on leash.
Yeah.
My point for bringing that up is we occasionally see people that leave their dogs off leash, even though it's abundantly clear in every campground you will ever go to that you're supposed to keep your dogs on leash. It doesn't say except if he's friendly. or except if he's old and doesn't really, he's totally docile. It says all dogs need to be on leash. And here's why. And I just, I was going to ask her opinions, but I'm sharing mine, and it's pretty strong because I walk this dog all the time in these campgrounds. If your friendly dog comes running up to my dog, or if your little dog or your whatever, he will attack it because he thinks he's being attacked.
Yeah. Dog charging, regardless. Oh, he's a happy, friendly dog. Well,
Yeah.
my dog doesn't know that.
No. He and plus there is a psychology. Again, but I have heard this, that when one dog is on a leash and the other dog is not on a leash, the dog that's on a leash now perceives I'm at a disadvantage because I'm tethered.
Mm-hmm.
And so it will make them even more aggressive. So what are we supposed to do? Are we, and so that's where Darlene had the situation with the German Shepherd, is like, she eventually let go of the leash. It's not the natural inclination to do that. You want to pull your dog away, right? But as you're pulling the dog away, it's making your dog even more aggressive because he's like, what are you doing? I'm trying to defend myself. So at the end of the day, I feel very strongly that all dogs should be on leashes, just like the rules say, period.
Yeah.
For that very reason, I just, frankly, it angers me, as you can tell, because
our dog is seen as the problem, even though your dog is off leash.
Yeah, it's like, so if your friendly dog comes running because he's off leash, comes running or jogging up to my dog, and my dog takes a piece out of him, I know that I'm the one that's going to get blamed, even though I'm the one following the rules, not you.
Yeah. Now, I will say, when you go boondocking, you will see a lot more off-leash dogs. I think you feel like, I'm out in nature, I shouldn't have to do that. I tend to understand that a little bit. However, I can be like, I think of the place we were in Colorado. I could kind of see in the distance the other camps. They were far away. As long as your dog is staying in that camp and isn't going to run over to us because you're not watching him, because he wants to play with our dog or whatever, then it's fine. But when he comes over, our dog will still be on a leash. And, we have a really long tether that we keep at our boondocking spot, and we keep him on there, and if your dog wanders over, then that could be problematic.
Yeah. And we did have a situation in Colorado where we were out riding our e-bikes.
Yeah.
And we had these two pretty good sized dogs come running down the hill straight for us.
Yeah.
And they did not look like, they were like, oh, we're going to take a piece of
you. They were not looking friendly. And I pulled my legs up.
and we just rode our bikes off as fast as we could, and so that, to us, again, it's just, it's uncalled for. When we are boondocking and have plenty of space between us and other campers, I mean, lots of other space, I will go out and play ball with Hugo, which I do every single day, and get him, let him run around the campground, and then I put him back in the RV, or if we're going to leave him outside the RV, we will tether him. Again, only in very rare circumstances. Sometimes when I'm out working on the RV, messing around with propane or whatever, I'll let him kind of wander the campground.
When we're boondocking.
But I'm still very aware of whether or not I have anybody close to me.
Yeah, because someone could be walking their dog just in between down the dirt road, and that could create an issue. And so you really just have to be aware of your surroundings. In the RV park, though, I don't understand why you think it's okay for your dog to be off leash, even if it's just piddling around the RV, because if he does come up to our dog on a leash, there's an issue. And I think that people just don't think of it that way.
Yeah, it's a safety issue for your dog, for our dog, and for us.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I get a little animated about it because I think about my wife and my dog. Why is it always her? Have been literally attacked 3 times in 3.5 years because of this situation. So as a husband and a dog lover and a dog owner, it makes me angry.
Yeah. So there you go. So I know you guys have had situations like this. I saw another channel who put a Instagram post out, and I was absolutely amazed at the number of stories with off-leash dog confrontations. And it just blew my mind. I was like, I'm not alone. Okay. This is happening out there. So what are your thoughts? And what do you think about that whole thing? Now, we're going to touch too much on this, but here's my only statement. Pick up your dang dog's poop.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. I pick it up boondocking because I am not going to leave poop all over someone's next camp spot. It infuriates me. It's stupid. I can't believe we even have to have the conversation.
Just do the right thing. I mean,
if it's that hard for you to bend over and pick it up, maybe physically,
get a shovel.
Get a shovel.
You know,
and get a little scooper.
Scooper.
It is your responsibility. It's not mine. And I don't care if your dog's poop is as big as little jelly beans. I don't care. Pick it up. It's just so irritating to me. I don't know. There you go. Rant over. There's that. So what's our next topic?
Oh, man. Do we even have anything left?
I think we might have one.
The generator wars.
Okay, this is definitely more boondocking, but
yeah. So, all right. So say you decide that you want to go camping. You do not have any type of way to power your RV other than a generator.
Okay.
But you're going camping, by God. And you're, so that means, you know, in theory, especially if it's hot outside, you're going to be running your generator for 12 to 16 hours a day. And a lot of these places you can stay as many as 14 days for free. So is that cool? Is that something you should be able to do? Now, some people might justify that saying, well, it's not just about the AC. I've got, I've got a CPAP machine. I've got oxygen, insulin, whatever the deal is.
And if you don't have any kind of inverter in your RV, it may be that you can't even plug in your coffee pot if you don't have some setup that allows you to at least use your essentials with a battery, or something.
Right.
So, it just depends. So I mean, I get it. I don't have a problem with people running their generator for a little bit, charging their batteries and moving on.
But that's
not what this is. This is the people that run it the whole time.
Some people that don't have batteries.
Yeah.
They're like, well, my generator is what provides the electricity for my RV. Why do I need batteries?
Yeah. Yeah. I got to say it's super annoying. I'm just going to say it right there. When you have someone who has to run it quite often. I don't know. I will also say in the next statement, we've never been next to somebody who's done that. We've had people that ran it for a good long while, and it took a while to do whatever they're doing or charge whatever they're charging. But
I don't know. I think we did, and maybe you just don't remember, but like when one of our very first boondocking experience was in Utah, and I think during the day it got pretty warm.
Oh, when we got really warm. Yeah, you're right.
And then, so these folks would, we had, it was our very first boondocking experience, and there really were not a lot of spots where we could go and fit our really big RV, but there was this one big open spot. It had some other RVs kind of smattered around us, and we pulled off as far away as we could to get away from them, but we could still all kind of hear each other. And there was somebody who's fairly close to us that they ran their AC a lot, I think, probably during the day when it got hot. And then they turned it on at night. I can't remember. I think they may have turned it off at 10 o'clock or so.
I feel like they didn't run it real late. So
yeah, because it tends to get cool there at night.
Okay.
So
yeah. Well, here's the thing. Sometimes, for us, we don't like to boondock when it's hot. We will generally plan our travels so that we don't have to run our AC, so that it's not that big a deal. However, hot days happen. Maybe you know how it is. You go to some places and it's like 85 one day and then 60 the next. It's just like it happens. I'm a little bit more forgiving in those instances. It's, for me, if I'm going to be sitting outside enjoying, and that was one of the most beautiful views, we had. If I'm going to sit out there enjoying that beautiful view and you're close enough where I have to absolutely hear your generator the whole time, yeah, I am probably going to be a little salty about it.
Okay. Well, okay. So a couple, I'm going to throw a turd in the punch bowl here. So some people might say, well, then
you can move.
It's public land.
Mm-hmm.
We could park wherever we want to park, even if it, and nobody forced you to park up close to me, Now I would say in that situation, sometimes you pull up to somebody and they don't have it on, and then
Yeah.
you get it completely set up, and then 5 hours later, the generator starts and it never stops. Or they may say, well, look, you know, RV solar is expensive. That I will say. In
Yeah,
fact, I
that's true.
actually met a solar install guy the other day at a RV park. He was like, look, it's a luxury. I look at what I do as a solar installer as installing something that is a luxury for most people, that they can't afford 10, 15, $20,000 RV solar setups. Now I will, so in a little pitch here, we've got a new product coming soon where you don't necessarily need to do that. You could get it for half that price, but that's coming soon. So maybe it is a thing. It's like, are you bougie just because you have solar and I don't have it? I can afford a $500 generator, but I can't afford a $5,000 RV setup.
Yeah, it's true. Here, I think I still come back to, so those people actually, we got there, they left like 2 days later.
They were weekenders.
And they left too late, and then it was completely quiet after that. However, a little bit later, a lady came and parked really close to us. And again, then we had the generator running even closer than the other people were. It is part of boondocking. It happens. That's why when you're smaller and you can get way more remote, that's probably a better thing, because you're going to hear less people, be around less people, that kind of thing. And it is public land, and that is the part of the juggle. So I don't know. I don't have a huge issue, because it really hasn't been a game, like a trip ruiner, that kind of thing. But it definitely does happen. And I don't know how I would feel about it. If someone really was totally dependent on that generator, I would probably move. I might even ask them how long they're going to be there. I might, because that's a lot of trouble hauling up and moving spots.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, I could be understanding if they obviously needed the generator for a reason, but what harm is it go somehow, doing a little intel and trying to figure out how long they're going to be there and decide if you want to move or not. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a practical solution would be, if you there are generators out there that are quieter than other generators.
Yes, it's true.
You can usually see, you could read the reviews, you could look at the average dBs that they have when they're running. These inverter generators definitely get an inverter generator. If you go and you get one of those generators that they have, like an emergency situation, looks like it's like in a cage.
It's like a utility,
those things are construction generators. Don't
take those.
Those things are loud as can be. But the thing is, there are power station type of things, like battery banks, whatever you want to call them. Blue Eddy makes them, Anchor makes them. Those are a lot more popular. Those are popular, and they're very affordable.
Yeah.
And they provide electricity. You could just, you have to charge it up before you go camping, especially if you're a weekender. You could, charge it up, and then you can plug your extension cables into it essentially, and just plug stuff in. And now you're probably not going to run an air conditioner off of it. If you really, really, really need air conditioning wherever you're going, I don't know.
And just reconsider. It's just not. I mean,
go higher. Go to higher elevation.
Because it's just going to be a pain in the butt for you to juggle. You're going to spend a lot of money on gas or propane, and you will be bothering people. If that is your goal, you're going somewhere hot and you're just going to run your generator the whole time you're there. You're that guy.
Yep,
so
you're that
just
guy.
so you know, just if you're okay with being that guy, just know you see everybody peeling off and leaving. I mean, you're okay with that and you feel good about that, then you're a better person than me, because I couldn't do it. What do y'all think? You think we should shut up and quit crabbing about everything, or?
Look, we didn't do this video to be negative.
No, not really.
Express an attitude. It's just like we really did. We watched some other videos that were similar that other channels had done, and we're like, these are hot button topics.
People are very passionate about these things.
And I'm sure plenty of you guys out there are going to disagree with us. And
that's okay.
It's okay. These are really, in a way, they're sort of lighthearted topics, except the dog off leash thing, as you picked up with me.
They're observations. I mean, we've been out there a long time. We've been seeing it. And many of you have also, you see it. Sometimes they're like, whatever, I'll just deal with it. And I am like that with a lot of issues. But other issues are very important, like the dog issue. So yeah.
Well, and then the other thing, I think this is a good salient point that we can maybe end on, which is we are, I don't know if it's just different now, but we are in a situation where people don't like confrontation. In confrontation, I know that usually sounds like a very negative word, maybe it is, but we're going and asking somebody for what you want from them, you know, or asking them to maybe change what they're doing is like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But what I'd rather be is a guy that makes YouTube videos to complain about it, or a guy that, or that, you know, the armchair warrior that wants to go on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, did all this and leave all these nasty comments in the forums and the Facebook groups and all that, and talk about how all these rude people are out there RVing. Instead, should we be, you know, more willing to go and talk to our neighbors that may be completely oblivious to the fact that what they're doing is perhaps bothering us?
Most of the time they are completely, they're not even thinking about this issue because they don't maybe have enough experience to know it's creating an issue. And that's what I said earlier. I was like, what about just going and having a conversation with somebody instead? Now, some people in this day and age feel like that's too risky anymore, that you can't disagree, or you can't, you know, go talk to somebody because they might pull a gun on you, or, you know, people get a little crazy.
I know, I could see that, and I think it's overblown. But I mean, I think if you start a conversation with, like, when you say to your neighbor, "Hey neighbor, can I ask you a favor?" You know, and then usually with people like that, like if somebody was to approach me like that, I'd be like,
"Well, yeah, what's up?
What do you need? Would you mind? I notice at night you have a tendency to leave your light on with your porch. You know, that comes right into our bedroom. It's kind of hard to sleep. Would you mind turning that off?" And if then they would have to explain why they wouldn't be open to it, or they might go, "Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, sure, no problem."
Yeah.
And now, situation, you know, and then maybe you even make friends, or just like, you know, whatever, or you just, then when you see them later on, "Hey, I appreciate you doing that. Man, I've slept better last night." You know, but I can't think of too many situations with, at least with it, because the other thing that we do know about people at RV parks, most of them are really nice. Yeah. These are the same people that as you're driving in the RV park, they wave to each other, you know? I mean, and so maybe we make the assumption that the same people that are those types of nice people that we see at these RV parks are the types that are right next to you, that they just don't realize that what they're doing or not doing is bugging you.
Yeah.
You know, that if they just made this little change, you know.
And that's why I say it, and it's all about your approach as well. So if you confront them confrontationally, that's just what you're going to get back. But if you go with a good open heart, with, you know, just explaining the situation and being cool, like Barry said. And, you know, I can't think of many scenarios if someone came to me and said something that I wouldn't go, "Oh my gosh, yeah, sure." You know,
the thing is about Darlene is I've noticed that she's almost too, like, she wants to be precautious that she doesn't offend anybody. That
I don't want anybody to have a bad experience.
You know, I remember I've turned our lights on in boondocking spots, and she's like, "You're not supposed to do that." You know, "Oh, we can't turn that generator on. It passed this point." I'm like, "Babe, there's literally nobody around anywhere, but there could be." I mean, she's like maybe a little abundantly cautious. So definitely, if you have
I'm the neighbor you want. Anyways, but I know you guys have had a lot of experiences the same way. So tell your stories. Let's have some conversations down in the comments, and let's all just really try to make these camping experiences better for ourselves and for the people around us.
As Bill and Ted said, be excellent to one another.
That was good, babe.
All right. With that, we'll say goodbye.
Bye-bye.